Hi, my name's Ben. I work for the Game House, and for this week 3, we're going to go through all the 0-2 teams and decide whether it's time to relax or it's time to panic. I already did a contenders and pretenders video for the 2-0 team, so now I want to flip the script a little bit and look at which teams really need to be stressed out and which teams are going to come on strong. So we're going to start with the AFC East, the 0-2 Patriots. Definitely time to panic. Their offense isn't good enough. Their defense is always good, maybe even great sometimes, but they don't have the skill positions. Mac Jones is either being very much held back throughout his entire career or just is kind of average at best. They don't have the weapons. They definitely have the coaching, but if everyone's going to stay as rigid as they always have down there, then they need to panic. It's time to absolutely lose it that Tom Brady is gone. They might not be good for a while if their drafting continues to be this bad. Chargers and Broncos. Chargers I don't think should panic other than the defense. The defense is being coordinated by a defensive head coach, Brandon Staley. They've been awful even though they have stars all over the field. If they don't get better, this team is going to be bad. Brandon Staley is definitely on the hot seat. If I were a Chargers fan, I'd be nervous about him calling the defense from game to game. It's not time to panic yet unless the defense continues to look this bad with this much money in it. Broncos, absolutely time to panic. That's easy. Russell Wilson is cooked. I know he hit the Hail Mary in the last game, but failed on the 2-point conversion. Sean Payton was supposed to save this team, and they're 0-2. That's awful. They had a lot of hope coming into the season, but doesn't look like any of it's panning out. I'm not sure where Jerry Jeudy is. I'm not sure where this defense that was supposed to be great again is. I'm not sure where Sean Payton is. He's been bad-mouthing the previous coaching staff, which is fair. And then also trying to mold Russell Wilson into someone else, which, again, is fair. His public persona is a little iffy, to say the least, but I won't say too much on that. The Broncos absolutely should panic, especially because they're tied up with Russell Wilson for a long, long time. They have a lot of money tied up in him, and he does not look good. Absolutely time to panic, not just for this year, but for the years ahead. The Bengals, no reason to panic on the Bengals. Now, if you look at the stats, the last team to start 0-2 to make the playoffs was last year's Bengals, and before that it hadn't happened for a while. But again, Joe Burrow missed all of camp with an injury. He missed all of camp with an appendectomy surgery last year. They started off slow. They started off 3-4 and then rattled off 10 straight, won the division, and we're in the AFC Championship game again. I know they've lost 2 divisional games. That's really rough, but they can make up for it if they remember who they are, go on an absolute tear. It's the second half team, not only in games, but in the season. So no reason to panic on the Bengals, even though Joe Burrow's calf may feel a little sore. I don't feel very strongly about that. I think way too much is being made of the Bengals 0-2 starts, people preying on their downfall. I don't really get it. They'll be fine. And then the Texans are 0-2. No reason to panic or relax. This is a young team. I think maybe relax because CJ Stroud has been throwing for so many yards, finding a bunch of different receivers. He's actually looked pretty good. He's looked like what the Bears were hoping Justin Fields would look like this year. But they were never in contention. They're not supposed to be. No reason to freak out over this team. They're not going to be good, but that's by design. CJ Stroud is looking good, so just keep looking forward to watching that. No 0-2 teams in the NFC East, although the Giants came extremely close after needing a wild comeback against the Cardinals to win that game. The Cardinals, is it time to panic? I don't know. They seem like they're in the Caleb Williams race. They seem like they're going to lead the Caleb Williams race for a long time, and if they do end up with the first overall pick, they might get another first or second or maybe a few picks for Kyler Murray. So is it time to panic? I'm not really sure, other than this better work. They've traded away a lot of talent. They have some people on IR. They cut Colt McCoy, who is a veteran quarterback, so whoever they draft, this better work, because Kyler Murray will be shipped out of town if they do draft Caleb Williams or Drake May. So no reason to panic, but we'll see how it looks next year. We'll just say that. Vikings and Bears are both 0-2. Vikings, absolutely time to panic. It's Kirk Cousins last year. Justin Jefferson is still great. Jordan Addison has looked great, but this defense is awful. It was awful last year. They've lost 2 games by 1 score. They were 11-0 in 1-score games last year, leading a lot of people to call them frauds, and then lost in their only playoff game. Absolutely time to panic. No one's sure what Kirk Cousins is going to do. Is he going to be traded to the Jets? Are the Vikings going to tank if they go 0-3? I would be sweating if I were a Vikings fan. Bears, even more panic. The Bears were supposed to sort of rein in Justin Fields, make him more of a pocket quarterback with the escapability and the running ability sort of secondary. They've looked awful. They've added a bunch of pieces pieces. They've traded away a bunch of pieces to get draft picks. Their drafts were looked at pretty favorably. Their free agent signings were looked at favorably. They got DJ Moore, who is doing really well, but the rest of the team stinks. The offensive line is bad. Justin Fields has looked awful. The defense has looked even worse than last year. So I'm not sure what the Bears are doing, but the rebuild is not going well. And then the Panthers, again, I'm not sure about this. I thought they would be a little better than 0-2, but that offensive line is awful. Bryce Young is running for his life. A story just came out about how they can't do many quarterback sneaks because Bryce Young is too short. That's a story for another day, but it's not necessarily time to panic about Bryce Young just yet. Just get in some protection and let him play from the pocket a little bit more. So those are the relax or panic on all the 0-2 teams. We're going to check back on this throughout the year just to see if my opinions have changed. But let me know what you think down below, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it.